Static Selector.
Grandmama used to pray, oh Lord, please save them from the evil snares and all the dangers that entangle. Yea, though they walking through the valley of the shadows, just prepare and make them fit for every battle, because I know they bound to come, and I know they bound to fall, but in your bounty, Lord, preserve their beautiful. Right, we still survive and offer grandma's prayers, surrounded by the jungle and the lion's den. Tread light, cause these traps isn't conspicuous. They hide right in plain sight, thinking we don't see them when they linger. Look right beneath the surface, then leave a trail of corpses. Crisis, prices, your life a disposable commodity, like living in a fantasy, conditioned to believe that the system even cares whether selling CDs or walking or driving or reading. Look, they don't even need a reason, it's just you breathing and being black. When it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all, at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming bloody murder. So they got me screaming. This gritty city got me on some. Look, get your hand up on my pocket. Distraction, so lazy they use the same tactics, like condom with some trinkets. Just don't let them get to thinking. That light bulb gets to blinking. You know niggas and ideas. Oh dear, my dear, you may not know me, but I know you very well. Foresight, they say hindsight is 20/20. Well, tell me something, we gotta see that history is on repeat, and maybe it takes a beat and a melody to speak a little louder than the message in the clouds or the essence in the air.
This was Saturday afternoon, about 5 minutes after 5. And at first I didn't think it was George because it said George Johnson. So I went on with my sewing. And then about minutes later, said it was George Jackson, one of the so-called Soledad brothers. And nobody ever bothered to call me and tell me that he was dead. And it's, well, for the past 10 or 11 years, I've expected to hear that he was dead anyway. So although the shock was there from the radio, I still expected to hear it someday, but not from the radio.
Your son died is fairly well known. Do you believe that? Do you disbelieve that? And do you have any other possibilities? What do you think? Really
No, I don't believe that, because I don't think my son was mad, and I don't think he was an idiot. And I don't think that he would do the things that they said he did. You know, these people have for years gotten away with saying anything that they want to say because they have absolute power over those men. Those men can't even sneeze unless they want them to. They can say anything that they want to say, and we have to take it. You know that. Did they let any of you go in there and find out and talk to the people what happened? You only took their word for what happened. And that's the way it's always been.
What do you think happened?
I think they expected me to go and sit in the corner and cry and not really look at George. But I did. I looked at him. I saw everything that happened to him. He was shot more than once. In fact, his body was mutilated. George was a fine-looking man. But you wouldn't have been able to recognize him after they got through with him. It seemed as if they just did things to him for a vengeance, you know. And then when I talked on the phone to him about it at San Quentin, they said everybody was glad he was dead. And you could tell that they were glad for what they did to his body.
Free.
Black August Resistance.
Peace. Greetings.
Yes. Salute to all the good people out here today. 42nd commemoration of Black August. Yes. We just
Absolutely.
saw. Yeah. That was Georgia Jackson right there. Mother of George Jackson, 3 weeks after her assassination. You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about how she was notified about the assassination of her son not really notified, but when the rest of the world heard it on the radio is when she heard it. She was at home sewing, and they decided to, let the radio station know, and she had never gotten a call ever that her son was assassinated. So if she didn't hear it on the radio, or if someone didn't tell her, then she wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? But yeah. What's happening, Jared? How you doing?
I'm as good as to be expected, and much better to be and honored to be participating in this commemoration. Shout out to Sunni Patterson and that introductory track as well. Appropriate and well suited to the occasion, of course. And who knew that she could rhyme? Who knew?
Rhyme, sing, spoken word, organize, fight. You know what I mean? She's, pray. She's a priest. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all types of different things. So definitely shout out to Sunni. And if I can so selfishly say that she's a member of the FTP movement and chapter head, her and her husband of the New Orleans chapter of the FTP movement. So she'll be on board today. We have a whole bunch of strong folks coming on. But the way we do things around here, especially when we're talking about commemoration, we have to have libation. We got to call on our ancestors. Don't think you're getting away with it because it's a virtual thing. You know what I mean? And before we even do that, allow me to say to the good people, today is also the 32nd anniversary of the assassination of, or 32nd commemoration of assassination of Minister Huey P. Newton, co-founder of the Black Panther Party out of Oakland. So, you know what I mean? We remember Minister Huey P. Newton on this day as well. Of course, yesterday was the 50th commemoration of the assassination of Field Marshal George Jackson. Who
he said was his hero.
Yes. Who Huey said was his hero. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And many of our heroes, in fact, folks talk about El Hajj Malik Shabazz, Malcolm X, and we love the Shining Prince, but we should also take a look at Field Marshal George Jackson, who also was politicized while in prison and who talked about nothing short of revolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if it's your first time, or if it's if you've been here before, we'd like to welcome you to Black Power Media. You know what I mean? Media of the future. You know what I mean? All African content, fighting for the rights and liberation of our people. And, to get it started, man, we're going to ask for this libation to be poured. So we're going to call on Mama Ayanna Mashama to grant us the blessings with this libation. Greetings. How you doing, Mama?
Greetings.
I think we have Mama on mute over there.
On mute and in the shadows.
She in the shadows. Okay. How you doing, Mama?
My mic is open, but you can't hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. You clear. Do you have headphones on? There's an echo somewhere.
I had headphones on. Let me see if I can do that for you. I'm on my phone.
Okay.
My browser wouldn't let me get on this site today.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna be all right regardless. We see you here physically and spiritually.
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Absolutely.
But is there an echo?
Yeah, we're still hearing a slight echo.
Yeah, I think the audio is not going through the headphones.
Yep. Technology is an amazing thing, though. Let's see what we can do. Anyone have any suggestions what I can do with my phone to make it so the echo?
We're gonna mute ourselves and while you pour libation, and that should help out.
Okay, and then I'll see if I can come back in on another technology. Okay. All right, let's go. Libation is our traditional way of opening, calling on our ancestors, honoring the creator, the ancestors, and as I have learned the elemental forces. I am going to ask the audience, our those that are listening and watching, the elders, virtual permission to pour libation. And I'm going to confirm that I am there with you. Let's see. I apologize for the lack of light. Normally it comes in great. It's the dualities of life, spirit and technology, calling forth, giving thanks to the Almighty Creator of all life, known by many names but only one. Divine Holy Spirit, Heavenly Father, Spirit, the Christ, Krishna, Allah, Jehovah, Jesus, only one, Ashe. Giving thanks for the divine energies, the sacred energies, the blessings of the universe that pour forth to us from the heavens to the earth, blessing us, surrounding us, abounding within us, and moving us in spirit, mind, body. Ashe. Giving thanks for and honor to the divine, heavenly, elemental forces, the sun, the light, the water, the wind, the air, this earth. Ashe. And centering in this earth, we give thanks to the directions, the ancestors, the angels, the Risha, the Metuneter, the divine energies that bless us, hear our prayers, come forth in this life, reveal themselves in so many miraculous and wonderful ways. Ashe. Giving thanks, honor, and recognition to the original mother and father who brought forth life on this earth and moved in harmony with the relations, the flowers, the plants, the seeds, the animals, the winged ones, those that crawl and slither. Yes, the relations of the east, the north, the west, the south. Ashe. And as we give honor to the sacred directions, we give honor to that which is above. For we know as it is above, it is below. Honor, love, and recognition to that which is below. And in center, Ashe. Harmony,
Greetings,
but
this is
new,
Brother
that we needed to resist. Giving thanks, honor, and recognition to our original ancestors and all those who resisted, because never was there a time that we did not resist the evils of oppression and repression. Ashe. To the ancestors of the Middle Passage, over 100 million strong, W.E.B. Du Bois documented 60 million, over 100 million strong, the ancestors of the Middle Passage. Ashe. To those keepers of Turtle Island, on whose land the Ohlone people, the keepers of this land, the Ohlone people, I sit, but all of the keepers of the land of Turtle Island who met us and joined with us in our resistance. Ashe. To the freedom fighters, to those who conspired and fought and lived and died in the name of freedom. Ashe. To the fallen, those gone too soon. Our sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, through the generations, with special love to my son Katari, my son Anthony, my political sons Javad, Jahi, Tupac Shakur, to Baba Shokwe, Queen Mother Moore. Well, she lived a good life. To the fallen, to those who may have been in our life for a moment or a season. Ashe. And to those yet to come, the unborn, we welcome you. We invite you to join us as we strive to make this a better world, as we strive to heal the world around us, as we create our intentions to resist, to organize, to strategize, to activate, to advocate, to live in this world that we are creating for you and like we are creating it for you. To the unborn, Ashe. And I'd like you to join me in the chat and put the names of the ancestors you would like to walk with you through this time. As I pour, I want you to say those names out loud. And we start in Black August with Katari Gaulden, Ashe. Jonathan Jackson, Ashe. George Jackson, Ashe. W.L. Nolan, William Christmas, Jugs Miller, Ashe. For all those behind the walls who died, the freedom fighters behind the walls, Ashe. Marcus Garvey, Ashe. Chokwe Lumumba, Ashe. To those who came over on the first slave ships, Ashe, or enslaved, to those enslaved who were first brought over in August, Ashe. To those who fought for the revolution in Haiti, Ashe. Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, Bookman, Toussaint, Dessalines, right? To the women who have always resisted, who have always fought, to the warrior women, Queen Mother Moore, Ashe, Njeri, Ashe, Fulani, Ashe, Afeni, Ashe. To all of those known and unknown, named and unnamed, special love to Damira and Hadia, Ashe. To our family members, our loved ones, our community members who we have lost in COVID, Ashe. Special love to Runoko Rashidi, Zumbi, Dr. Goss, Bobby Eddings, and all of our loved ones. Brother Squeak in Chicago, we give love, honor, and recognition and raise you up through your names and our intentions. And let's take a moment and center. And in center, Reach deep into your heart, the fiber of your being, every vibration of your soul, and call forth the intentions to do the highest good and greatest good for the people. To come together, put aside our differences in unity. Let's, as George Jackson said, let's come together, put aside our differences, and create. Let's build together and take care of ourselves and others around us as we move forward. Thank you for your time and for allowing me into your space. And we send these words out into the universe, knowing they increase and amplify and extend to the ends of the universe and back again, supporting all that we are and all that we do for the highest good. We say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And so it is.
Sorry about that. Greetings. My name is Brother Kaba. I will be doing an original song right now that was that I wrote especially for occasions like this, where we commemorate our ancestors, particularly those who fought for us and whose spirits carry on with us. It's called Africans. Ooh, yeah. Early in the morning, I think about all of those who came before, who sacrificed so that I could be what I wanted to be, who I needed to be, an African. They were Africans, yeah. Born of the continent where life began. They were Africans, yeah. From Nubia to Zimbabwe, to the ancient cities of Ile-Ife and Sankore. They were Africans, sure enough Africans, yeah. They were dignified. They did what was right. They fought for their lives so that we could survive to be Africans, sure enough Africans, yeah. Despite the pain, the blood, sweat, and tears, they decided to persevere year after year so we could be here to say that I, that you, that they were Africans, born of the continent where life began. They were Africans, sure enough Africans, yeah. First the Greeks and then the Romans came, tried to steal your legacy, but then they changed the name. When we know, we proclaim they were Africans, sure enough Africans, yeah. No matter how much distance or how much time has passed, our blood, our hair, our style, our flair, they're all reflections of our past. See, we got to know and love ourselves with the first fruit of the first seed that was planted in that truth. And when you dig your roots, you won't have to go too deep to find an African, yeah. Born of the continent where life began. They were Africans, sure enough Africans, yeah. Born of the continent where life began. We are Africans, sure enough, Africans, yeah. Black August Resistance.
Sounding
Right on.
good, people?
Right on. Shout out to Brother Kaba.
Okay. Good stuff, Kaba. I think I taught Kaba how to croon. You know what I'm saying? I might have, you know, might have forgot myself. You know what I mean? But you know, man, what's happening? How y'all feeling today?
Much better now. Good to see these good folks on the screen and more coming. Welcome.
Okay. Yes. Okay, man, you know, we apologize for any technical difficulties or whatever, you know, but we're gonna rock this thing out. We're gonna do what we gotta do because we're representing for George, Jonathan, and the whole crew. You know what I mean? It's Black August Resistance, and we say long live the dragon. So to our co-hosts, our panelists, make sure you unmute when we start talking or whatever, because of the fact that we don't want to do like Kaba, start singing 30 minutes worth of a song and forget that you know, he had to unmute the joint.
But he sure did redeem himself, and I'm glad he did, because sometimes we joke around a lot with my man, and it's sometimes important to be reminded of how deep it can get. So
No doubt. Shout out to our brother, man. You know what I'm saying? I called him maybe like an hour and a half before the joint came on. So, you know, I'm gonna give him his credit on that. So definitely, you know, salute. He always has been a strong supporter of Black August. You know, they would come down to Atlanta and commemorate with us every year. But before,
go ahead.
So good. Without further ado, we want to introduce the folks who are on the panel today. What's happening, y'all? So we want to get started. I guess we'll start clockwise from with the brother with the blue shirt at the top. You know what I mean? He's over the African Martial Arts Institute. He's co-chair of the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute. He's written at least 40 books. That's right. You didn't get it wrong. 40. He is a priest. So he can teach you. He can deal with some spirituality. And if you don't like what he's saying, then, you know, fight him. Anyway, we got my brother, Balogun Ojetade, in the building. What's up, man? It's good. Hey, man, we good to go, man. How's everything with you?
Oh, everything's well. I just got through with class, so
no doubt. Yes.
I would just say, if you don't like what he says, just kindly disagree.
That's what I would suggest. So
I'm a gentle lamb, man.
Yeah, a lamb that go ham, no pork. But anyway, also in the building tonight, we have the esteemed scholar and doctor out of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Who's been putting in serious groundwork out there with the MOVE organization and others. I don't have her bio in front of me, but I tell you what, if you've never seen Dr. Krystal Strong in action, you won't be able to say that again after tonight. Welcome, Dr. Krystal Strong. What's good with you?
Peace, y'all. Peace and Black Power. Good to be here.
Welcome.
Okay. How's everything? You okay?
I'm good. Good to be commemorating such an important day with all of you.
No doubt. Also on deck tonight, we have another priestess who can recite and fight and do all that stuff as well. She is the People's Poet Laureate. We're not even gonna give her New Orleans. We're not even gonna give her the United States. We're gonna say the people. You know what I mean? This is a sister freedom fighter that I've been knowing for a couple of decades. She's serious about her work. And the one thing I appreciate about her is that oftentimes folks are amazed. They're like, oh man, do you think you can get Sunni Patterson to come on? I'm like, I might, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I wanted to introduce you all, if you don't know already, to our warrior sister, Sunni Patterson. What's happening, Sunni?
All good. Happy, what is today? Sunday. Happy Sunday.
That's what it is. It's happy Sunday. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? Yes,
right
yes.
Welcome.
Good to have you on deck. We had Mama Ayanna on. Mama Ayanna that did the libation. She is a veteran of people's liberation struggle. She's one of the co-founders of the Black August Organizing Committee. She started the Malcolm X grassroots chapter in the Bay Area. And she's a serious freedom fighter. So definitely we give thanks for her libation as well. And of course, we have Brother Kaba. The way we're going to rock today is we're going to do it kind of interview style, because of the fact that we didn't want you all to just be bored and we just have folks coming up with all these, serious, hardcore answers. We wanted to rap with our people and wanted to make it plain, as Malcolm would say. So, Dr. Jared Ball, what's good, man? You want to get it started?
Well, one thing I want to do very quickly is and forgive me and everyone for this, but I just want to make sure give her a little bit more of her propers here, and just to clarify that Dr. Strong is, among many other things, an assistant professor in the Literacy, Culture, and International Education Division, and a member of the Anthropology Graduate Group and faculty affiliate of Africana Studies, the Price Lab for Digital Humanities, the Center for Experimental Ethnography, and the Hub of Equity, Anti-Oppression Research and Development at University of Pennsylvania. And she has written a number of important pieces on the that we've used in my own classroom. She was, kind enough to come on through, talking about the relationship of Africans and Africans in the diaspora, among many other things. So I just wanted to just to add that little bit there. But and since I just finished bigging you up a little bit, Dr. Strong, let me start with you. Where just in your work, how would you say a commemoration of Black August remains important in the work that you all continue to do? You've been involved with Black Lives Matter, the BLM 10, in grassroots organizing in Philadelphia. You've had to also adjust yourselves to the imposition of popular renditions of that form of activism, if I could put it that way, politely. So as we commemorate Black August, how does that fit in with or factor into the work that you do?
Peace, y'all. I appreciate this question. And I think, I was reflecting just this morning and in preparing to join the broadcast today on how formative Black August is for so many of us in our radicalization, right? In our process of becoming revolutionaries. And, I think about being an undergraduate student in New York and attending my first Black August, concert. that was actually, hip hop was actually my first encounter with the concept of Black August. And I know that was the case for a lot of people of my generation, to really encounter young people talking about the impact of Assata and George Jackson and, the need to free Mumia, right? And so being from Philadelphia, being an organizer in Philadelphia, having the opportunity to organize with political prisoners, right? We in the city of Philadelphia are so fundamentally indebted to, our political prisoners, folks who, in the MOVE organization, we talk about the MOVE 9 and how just that legacy, it colors so much of what we do here. And, we are coming up on the 43rd anniversary of August 8th, 1978, which is when the MOVE 9 were captured. And so Black August is really a time for us to study our revolutionary history, right? Black August is a commemoration of so many moments of Black revolution, of Black resistance throughout time across our diaspora. Obviously, we can talk about various prison uprisings that happened in August. We can talk about the Haitian Revolution. We can talk about the Watts Rebellion, right? Like we can talk about so many moments of our liberation struggle being advanced. And so Black August invites us to really learn this history, to study this history, and not just to do it in a kind of shallow way, but to really look to these moments of revolutionary struggle as a blueprint for how we need to struggle and engage in revolution now. And the last thing I'll say is I think what Black August also does is it centers our incarcerated family members. It centers the leadership of prisoners and political prisoners. Something that in some circles gets left out of the equation, but we are so fundamentally indebted to the leadership, the intellectual work, the examples of our family members that have been behind the walls. And so Black August is really an opportunity to center the prison as a site of knowledge production and as a site of struggle.
Hey, right on.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I would pose the same question to Balogun. When was the first time you began to commemorate Black August? And to a great extent, how does your work play out with Black August in regards to all the different works that you do?
Began to commemorate Black August in 2006 when we actually met. A friend of both of ours, a comrade of both of ours, Born Divine, had said to me, let's go to Virginia for their Happy Natural Day event in August, celebrating Black August. And I thought I was very astute. So when he said Black August, I said, I've heard it, heard the word heard Black August. I know it has something to do with George Jackson. This is my words to him. I said, but what is it all about? And so he broke down to me what Black August is about. And that Happy Natural Day was a commemoration of it. And so I was all in, and that's how I ended up coming to Happy Natural Day in Richmond, Virginia. So since 2006, I've been commemorating Black August. Since then, my work from martial arts, it began with martial arts, and my training in survival and preparedness, really I kept that to myself and my family. And then as I began to study Black August and talk with Kalonji about Black August, he went deeper, and how we have to be able to protect what we have, not just martially, but intellectually. We have to have political education to know why we're doing what we're doing. Then I began to switch courses. I look at my own politics, right, and say, well, all that I've learned and all that I've done for this insane country, how can I give back? And so when Kalonji said to me, hey, let's form Urban Survival and Preparedness Institute. First I said, okay, yeah, we'll get to it. And then he had the logo made. And when he gave it to me, I said, okay, let's start doing it. And I can now start giving what I've learned, the little bit that I know, I can give to our people, so we can then begin to learn to resist our oppressor in other ways, right? Because when you begin to train to protect yourself against things on the street, against the state, whatever it may be, then you best know how to really survive and thrive in the environments that they have forced us to be in, and then environments from disasters that will come. So then I began to teach, and not from a woodland survival standpoint, which is where I learned. I began to translate everything to an urban survival modality, because that's most of us live in that modality. And I've also created a survival modality for those who are incarcerated. I was incarcerated here in Atlanta, in Georgia, for a time. And I was told, I began to teach people while I was there. This is before I met Kalonji. I was teaching in the jail. And I was told when I got out that if I ever came back, I'd never leave there alive because I was teaching. So as I began to learn more about Black August, it all hit home for me, right? So I don't plan to ever be inside again, but the way I live, it's a possibility. And if that should happen, I'll be teaching again. Since they told me I won't leave alive anyway, I might as well do what it is that I do, and let's see.
Word up. Yeah. So right on.
By the way, I just think it's deep that well, I mean, I guess it is perfectly logical. Forgive me here, but I think it is deep that so much of the traditions, overtly and otherwise, of Black August are aggressively repressed in prisons. Whether it's sending the books, the literature to people, talking about it, being affiliated with it, doing as Brother Balogun is talking about, teaching, defense, intellectual or otherwise, is aggressively assaulted inside the prisons, and maybe less aggressively or differently outside. But anyway, it
Right on.
just something that anyway. Let's keep it moving.
No doubt. Sunday, same question. You know what I mean? What was your introduction, and how does it play out in the works that you do and in your life and livelihood?
Yeah, I think I want to say we were doing something in Houston. It was a organization, Blackout. I don't know if you remember Blackout.
Yeah.
We were out Houston, maybe, I don't know, 2000, 2001, something like this, maybe 2001. And doing things that I think that was probably the first, not probably, that was the first time that it was very intentional to do this work, like, oh, this is Black August, right? And what that means, and what, I wonder why there wasn't any women. Why were we not in the women? That's a whole nother thing. Now I'm thinking about all this now, like this is something. But being in Houston to do it was a concert or something there. But so I'm thinking about this also from what Dr. Strong was talking about, just that introduction as far as hip hop and just what that looks like, and how hip hop is, and music, right, and sound has introduced many of us to powerful principles, and just powerful methods to move and heighten ourselves. So yeah, that was a big piece then. And then from there we just kept it going. I think for me, I mean, when it boils down to these issues as well, of not issues, I mean issues of course, but when it comes down to going back again to those principles, when we're thinking about unity, and principles of power and what that means and what that looks like, and resistance and what that means and looks like, yes, during this month, of course, but just during every month, and what that looks like for us spiritually. I think about a quote, it says that spirituality is the highest form of politics. If we go from the definition that politics is the gaining and maintaining of power. So how do we gain and maintain power? And many of us, right, is by means of our spirituality, and our activism even comes, by way of that. Our activism, our science, our whatever it is born out of our spirituality, and sometimes the other way around, right? But it with this work, and then even thinking about you, Baba Balogun, when it comes down to this aspect of the martial arts aspect of it, as well. I think about my teacher who would say that as a priest and priestess, you have to know how to do a few things. One, you have to know how to take care of yourself and your community. You know, you have to know how to take somebody out. Then 3, you have to know how to bring them back because you got to deal with them in the spiritual realm. So, you know, moving from that space and moving from that state, what does that look like to do high ancestral work? And then what does that mean when we're honoring our ancestors past, present, and future, right? So what does Black August look like? Yes, now, what did it look like then? But also, how do we envision this, right, for our future and for those that come behind us? I'm a believer in one of my mamas say, you know, we got to be shoulder strong and shoulder ready. So I think that's what, yes, this commemoration, but you know, commemorations all over what that means for us to be shoulder ready. So I'm just grateful to, you know, be a part of a panel and just a piece, you know, this particular piece that allows us to sharpen ourselves and strengthen our shoulders so that those that's coming behind us can have a good firm place to stand.
Right on. And we definitely appreciate you coming on board, joining us.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Mama Ayanna in the background. Mama, I want to, first of all, I want to shout folks out. Mama Ayanna is over in the Bay. Sunny is over in the Midwest. Krystal's over on the East Coast.
Right on. Right.
I got to stop you. I'm not in the Midwest.
Oh, you're not? Okay, okay. Oh, excuse me. You are in New Orleans. Excuse me. I thought that was... Hey, man. Bad mapping.
Nolans, to be more specific.
Yeah, that's how white folks say.
They did that to Africa. They did the same thing to Africa. I'm in Africa too. What's going on?
She'll throw me under the bus just like that. True sister. Anyway, Jay is in DC and Balogun and I.
No. I got to be respectful. I am in Howard County, Maryland. We need to be very clear when we are representing where we represent, because folks, you know, got to be specific.
My bad.
And this region in particular needs specificity.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cats get real. Yeah. Anyway, so all respect to everybody.
Hey, man, excuse me for disrespecting what colonies y'all in.
I'm saying people get very particular about, I mean, in this area, I feel it particular. I don't know. It feels a little anyway. So just, no, I love DC. I started in DC. That's my spot, but I am currently in Maryland.
Hey, it's gangster in them tree-lined streets.
These tree-lined streets, be careful.
No doubt. Mama Ayanna, what's happening? How you doing today? Excellent libation.
Oh, we have to unmute you, sis.
We got to unmute Mama Ayanna. Where you at?
And if we could take a second, Kalonji, I think people need to understand, to the extent that they and we don't, why Mama Ayanna was referencing so many as her sons, etc., and why those in particular were referenced, you know, just in case anyone is not appropriately clear. And I just want to say personally, my own greetings to you, Mama Ayanna. It's been a minute. It's good to see you again, and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay? And is there an echo?
No, you good to go now.
Okay, good. I changed my technology. Please forgive me for the technical difficulties. Not forgive me. My apologies for the technical difficulties, y'all. But greetings. It's good to see everyone. I'm honored to be in this space with you all, and I am honored to be part of this commemoration and commemorative practice. Right on, right on. We'll be definitely honored to have you. You were around for the first Black August commemoration, the very first. We talking about 42 in. You know what I mean? When we wasn't thinking about it, when it was when hip hop was just coming around, so that, you know, they hadn't quite put the voice out yet, and when before folks on the outside was really rocking like that. I believe you told me during an interview, it might have been like a dozen or so of you all outside of the prison getting things started. Can you give us some feedback on where we are now compared to then?
Yeah, well,
folks take and move Black August in the direction that they've wanted to in some ways. I want to be clear, Black August was founded by the brothers in San Quentin. It was made to bring attention to the conditions. It was made for two things: to honor those who have fallen behind the walls, in particular Katari Gaulden, George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson, W.L. Nolan, William Christmas, Jugs Miller, and others who had fallen behind the walls. And it was created to support building the Black prison movement. And the original Black August was the idea, the architect of Black August is Katari Gaulden. Using the historical history of Black August and wanting to build a movement or continue to build a movement, then Black August was formed and then commemorated. The very first time the brothers feel the first commemoration was August 1978 at the death of Katari Gaulden in San Quentin. And the brothers in the Adjustment Center had, many of them shaved their hair. They had black armbands on. They fasted from sunrise to sunset in unison with Ramadan. And they were not buying from the prison canteen. They shared what they had. They were fasting, or media fasting, or abstaining from watching media from sunrise to sunset, and then only watching Black and independent media and listening to Black and independent media. They were, many were abstaining from drugs and alcohol as well. So in 1979 is when there was a small group of us that were working together, and family members of prisoners that honored Black August in 1979. Over the next year, we really began to organize and strategize to activate Black August. And in 1980, we had 5 cadres that were commemorating Black August in the streets. We had our first Black August Festival where we gave away food and books and had edutainment. But we were clear it's not a celebration, it's a commemoration. By 1981, we had decided to bring in the historical actions and events over time that have happened in August. And that included the Move, 9, the first enslaved Africans being brought to the United States, the Haiti uprising, Haiti Revolution, and Marcus Garvey's birthday even, and because Marcus Garvey had been a political prisoner. Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, right? I think Nat Turner Day is August 31st. And we used these historical actions and events to educate community around resistance and to encourage and support acts of resistance. But we have to be clear, yes, the prisons and prisoners and political prisoners are key to any Black August event or action. When we commemorate the fallen and the actions of the past, but we also are very clear we have people, masses of our people in prison, and where we are not having any oversight. And we have millions that go through torture and degradation and oppression and repression on a daily basis. And so not only is Black August a time for us to honor our prisoners, but to organize in work around prisons and prisoners and political prisoners. And then in the practice of Black August, we encourage the dedication, the discipline that comes with the practice. The fasting. Now, as a natural health practitioner, I really don't encourage anybody to go all day without water, but I know it's a discipline. And when I did it for about 39 years, right, going all day. But so it is a practice of discipline. I really encourage fasting. I think the fasting is an important part of the discipline. And then working out, group exercise, group training has always been an important part of it, as well as studying. Of course, we have books like Soledad Brother and I See You in the Whirlwind and Blood in My Eye and 2000 Seasons. And there's Mumia has multiple books. Sundiata Akoli has books out. Barbara Herman Ferguson's book. I mean, there's many books that we can read or articles that we can read, or now because in media we have so much we can watch where we can learn about the history of our people, the history of the resistance of our people, and with particular focus on those of us that have been imprisoned. Of course, I always encourage people to read the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, right? That man, master genius organizer. We can still learn so much from him, especially during these times. And the media fasting is an important part, you know, turning off your phones when you can, turning off your TV, your computer, whenever you can. I mean, most of us during this time are working from home, remote, or many of us. So not telling you don't work unless you can safely and comfortably do so, but I am telling us to shut it down and use the media for our work, for our study, for and to give our minds a chance to really move into the intention of being disciplined and focused on resistance and building. Then there's the breaking fast. Some folks have come together to break fast together. August 31st at the end of the month is always a good day to gather people together, or to, hey, you might want to do it on Zoom, right? Or whatever group media you're using to come together and break fast together. Baba Shaka, when we talked about the fasting, his suggestion was like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., you know, or even so that you have a schedule and a balance, and again, another discipline in what you do. Black August has been embraced by people all over the world. And as we embrace it, we want to celebrate, but I really encourage us to understand it's a commemoration and a practice of discipline. And that I also, though, encourage us to find joy in the discipline and the practice, right? To find joy in our commitment to resistance and revolutionary action, to find joy in the resistance and the actions of our ancestors, to allow it to inspire us and wire our brains and how we respond in ways that support the work that we do together and individually. The other thing with Black August, we always encourage people to write prisoners, right? If you know someone in prison, write them, or if you don't, Jericho Movement, I think it's jericho.org, they have a list of political prisoners, and you can write. The Bayview newspaper always has a section where prisoners are looking for pen pals. Most of us in the Black African, New African community know people that are in jail, have family members, community members, or know people who have family or community in jail or prison. So this is a time to discipline yourself to communicate and write someone. Send them, if you're doing Black August events and you're charging money, that money should go to prisons or prisoners or legal defense funds, as in how Black August Hip Hop would raise money for legal defense funds. I'm going to stop here because I want to hear your voices or hear your questions.
Right on. Very important. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. We definitely, are honored to have an OG. When we say OG, we're talking about original gorillas. We're not talking about original gangsters. You know what I mean? And speaking of OG, shout out to OG Shaka, who was my chairman as far as Black August Organizing Committee, someone who educated and informed me on the principles and practice of Black August, him along with OG Kamasi. What we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna go to a quick break. I'm sorry.
I'd just like to say one thing. I would like to I don't know, put in the chat or let people know that we are raising funds for Baba Shaka, and
yes,
I'd like us to come back to that. I don't mean to interrupt you. I know how rude that is.
Nah, it's all good. We definitely before we leave, we will get the link and put it on a piece. We definitely OG Shaka right now is going through cancer treatment. Many of you know because you support it, but we definitely want to make sure that we continue to support OG Shaka. Many of our freedom fighters don't have the necessary health care, especially in this criminal society where they make it hard or make it difficult. And even if you do have health care, the healthcare don't really care. You know what I mean? It still ends up costing you an arm, leg, a foot, and a backbone. What we want to do real quick is go to a quick break, and we're going to have a gift courtesy of our comrade, sister, and warrior, Sunni Patterson, who is a real dope poet. I don't think y'all know, but after we finish this, you're going to find out today. We'll be right back with you in a few ticks. Sunni Patterson to be jumping on in a minute.
Let's go, Black August.
Yes.
There we go. I did the same thing. So in staying in vein with honoring our ancestors. A great ancestors, you are breath, you are bridge, you carry us over tumultuous time. You who can hear and answer with quick remedy, you are ready before we ask. You who can speak through tongues of trees and fire and water, this earth cannot hold you. We pound the ground and you appear, O ancient ones. You who can make lightning strike with the flick of a skirt. You who can make tornado turn with the spin and span of hips, take us there to the place of knowing, to the hall that leads to the doorway of you, O holy ones, you of the first light, you who know the potential of possibility pulsing in the dark, deliver us unto our gifts. You who have sunlight in your fingertips, touch our drums, make us hear the rising, make us move a steady stump, a choir of voices so majestic, heaven hides us in a tapestry of light, or we are stars. blankets of wonder, sky bright eyes seeing the invisible, visible, you who have returned. You have turned our faces so that we see ourselves, and we have found you again in places we would have never imagined. You make our limits infinitely long. Our vision is clearer with eyes closed, and even there, you still stand in full color, vibrant and eager to serve. But when they read of this moment, they will see how we endured, and they will wonder how we made it, how we could live through such a time and still smile and create and celebrate, even though walls of panic and loss continue to build up around us. So they will shake their heads in astonishment. They will question how we survive without hugs and community gatherings. Or they will drum up every conspiracy theory, and most of them will be correct. They will feel the anger of the era, the frustration of the season, and they will pick apart the science and discover to their surprise, oh, there was so much more hidden. This virus was a disguise. They will tremble at the revelation, and tears will come to their eyes, for they will see the essence of being in the living and those who died. Or when they read, they will see how this time provided a shift in foundation and frequency, how it challenged outdated systems and let go of antiquated beliefs, how we were forced to grow our courage and practice care in the midst of grief. Or when they research about these days, from the uprisings to the downfalls, they will unravel the knots, they will connect the dots, and they too will heed the call with dignity and integrity, ancestral wisdom and pride, where creativity and imagination move head and heart into alignment. And they will know, because they will feel the power and presence of devotion and will, of culture, of spirit, of justice, of light, of oneness, of harmony, of divinity and insight. Or when they read of this moment, they will see how we endured, and they will still question how we made it. And we will say, well, how could we not? Okay.
Man, listen, I don't think they know. I feel like if I was in one of the poetry lounges, I'd be snapping my fingers. How they be doing? Oh,
They used to hold up lighters too. Then now it's an app, I think.
it's an app now.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
That's something I heard. Here or there.
Okay.
By the way,
y'all can unmute yourselves too. I mean, everybody's looking all muted and scared. To speak right now.
If it's cool, I did want to ask. Several of us have already mentioned hip hop and cultural performance already as being instrumental in leading us here. And I'm wondering, I used to argue for a long time, at least, that there's more radical cultural production being produced today than ever, but it's harder to access than ever. At the same time, that there's been a very sophisticated and nuanced recapturing of this space. And I'm just wondering what do you all think of the status of that argument? If you've ever agreed with that, if it's applicable today from your perspective, in other words, where do we think the realm of cultural production is today in pushing segments of at least segments of us to these politics?
I would like to say the underground has always been the place that I've seen it and experienced it as a spoken word artist and as a community elder, and just historically, right? We know that culture our youth carry the culture forward. They pretty much create our culture and have historically, I'm sure all the way back to the beginning of time, right? Young people create the space that they need and then create ways to teach each other and learn from each other. So I believe that a lot of our cultural evolution and our political evolution happens in the Black African, New African underground throughout the diaspora. And it is embraced there and moved forward. in our hip hop underground, in our spiritual religious community underground, in our health and wellness underground, and most definitely in our political underground. For those of us that are often would like to keep what we do closer to home and those we do it with.
Right on. Anybody else? Dr. Strong.
Anyone else, feel free to
Yeah.
jump in if you like or not, you know.
I'm just kind of chewing on this question because I do think that, you know, if we look to platforms like this, for example, and even just like our media infrastructures and the growth of social media, for example, which is something that I think a lot about and also like make use of and just organizing work, and all of us who organize in this moment use these tools, right, and benefit from these tools. And I think, you know, there are some really creative and innovative and unprecedented ways that we're seeing more space, right, for revolutionary conversations, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on a live stream like this, for example, whether it's on a hashtag where, you know, we can connect with our family members in Nigeria or South Africa and Kenya. And just like thinking about how important these tools are to even knowing what's going on the ground when it's happening, and being in a position to support it, to extend solidarity, to move resources to support that, and sustain such movements, right? Like we can't ignore just how these tools have shifted the way that we organize, right? I think that's you know, I don't know how, to me, that just seems like a kind of irrefutable fact, right? At the same time, though, I don't know. I mean, as a person who was kind of coming up in a young adult in the early 2000s, the kind of mid 2000s, and, you know, there was still, even within like mainstream invisible parts of hip hop, you know, there were like the Black Star, right? Like having a group like that when I was coming up, or, you know, just even like Dead Prez, for example, listening to Revolutionary but Gangsta when I was a college student, for example. I don't know if we have, I know some of y'all are laughing, that's okay. But, you know, it was very formative to many of us in my generation and age group. And I don't know that we have those figures today. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we have that kind of like cultural aesthetic and kind of like, you know, I just think about how many of us, you know, went natural during that era, you know, had our little fatigues and, you know, y'all know the uniform from that era. And I don't know that we have that right now. And I do kind of miss some elements of that feeling like they were more mainstream within our culture.
Definitely, yeah.
And I do think that we are seeing some examples of that. Like when you think about, I don't know, like the Black Panther effect, for example. It's been a long time since we've seen being African and affinity with Africa, you know, that's been a struggle for many folks in our community for many decades. And I think some of us are coming back. Some of us never left, right? But some of us are sort of coming back to that awareness and consciousness. But, you know, it's a Disney-fied, corporatized version of something that in earlier moments was much more revolutionary, right? Like it just wasn't, you know, cultural politics. It was backed with a little more of a radical politic and a Black liberation focus. And so I think we are missing some of that. It feels like we're missing some of that at the mainstream.
I think it kind of, and I agree with what you're saying, understanding what you're saying. I think that it comes in spurts. You know what I mean? You have different time periods. You had the time period with the Oscar Brown Juniors and, the Last Poets and the Gil Scott Herons and the Nickies and you know what I'm saying, and the Sonyas and all of them. And then it seems like it was a pause. And then there was the Public Enemies. There was X-Clan, Lakim Shabazz, Brand Nubian, folks like that. Then there was a pause. Then along came Dead Prez. And there was the rejuvenation because clearly from you just told us your age. So basically, we were kind of in that Public Enemy era. You know what I'm saying? I guess Jared Balogun, I ain't gonna say Sunny because I don't want no heat, but Mama Ayanna, you know what I mean? So there was the whole Public Enemy era. And then all of a sudden, all the party and the bullshit like Biggie sampled, the Last Poets joint. It came into effect, and then all of a sudden Dead Prez came back, and it was rejuvenating, it was refreshing because of the fact that what they came with is what we call creative resistance. We have to be creative in our resistance. You understand what I'm saying? We can no longer just walk around with just throwing on some dusty uniforms and some boots and talking the same old rhetoric and the Tams and the gallons of waters and the flip-flops and all that type of stuff. That's cool, but that's not going to draw the masses. If we're going to organize, we have to be able to tap into what the people are into. There's what we want and there's what the people want. And sometimes the things that we want and that we desire aren't necessarily the flavor of the month, for lack of better words. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta dig into speak the language of the people. Sunny, I want to hear from you, or Balogun, and then Sunny, if you don't mind. You got to unmute yourself, Balogun. We don't,
I just want to say it's really hasn't been a pause. It's been a pause in what's hot.
Right.
I just got to say it.
Yeah,
because when I was rapping, when I was younger, I went out to the mosque. I was invited out to the mosque to rap in my group. And there were these brothers, they were rapping. They had on suit and bow ties. That's cool. But the stuff they were rapping about, mother plane and stuff like that, it wasn't connecting. It wasn't even connecting to the members of the Nation of Islam. Because it wasn't hot. Right? So when we got out there, and we did a fusion of rap and reggae, right? Dancehall, actually. But they asked us after, how do you get the crowd involved? So because we're not being so didactic in what we're doing. Because if you're being so didactic, that's really not hot. You're not making a connection with even the people who you're preaching to the choir to. They want it hot too. So it really hasn't been a pause. It just hasn't been good stuff that we can connect to. It's not many Sunni Pattersons out there. I was also doing spoken word, and there weren't many out there. It was a bunch of, and to tell you, I got involved in spoken word because there was so many brothers in spoken word who were just trying to get some tail that I was going to fight that. So I was never happy doing it because I was constantly fighting the BS, and all my poetry was dealing with exposing that, and it wasn't exposing that, and everybody knew that's what they were doing. So we need more hot stuff out there. With martial artists. When I first moved to Atlanta, they were like, oh, finally we got some real martial arts here. And that caused a lot of hate with other martial artists for me. But I put in the work all my life, literally since I was 4 years old, and it's just in my family. So all my life just working hard to be good, because why do it if I'm not going to be good at it? And especially if I'm going to be teaching other people, if I'm going to be going before people and presenting this thing. Same way with rap. If you're going to go before people, make sure your stuff is good. A lot of times we don't like to say it, but it's the truth. Some of this stuff is garbage. Or if it's not garbage, it's just so preachy. You know, I left the church when I was 12. I don't need to be preached to. So,
right on. Sunny, what says you?
Yeah, no, I'm with him. It's so much that just on the base level doesn't sound good, right? So no, I'm absolutely with you, Bob, on that one. Then I think the other part, and that's the theme. Everything is connection. Everything is how we're connecting to ourselves, how we're connecting, right, to our audience, how we're connecting to our message, right, within ourselves, so that we're able to make sure that we're not falling for delusion. See, this is when we find out as well, even in our art and creativity and everything as well. This is when we still begin to see that there's still this connection to this colonizer in this way, that there's still this affinity for capitalism in this way, because we discover that I have what was said in pedagogy of the oppressed, right, when it was like the depositing of education
Banking model.
Yeah, and things like that. So now it still boils down to I have the answer, right, and I need the people to listen, right? So it's this thing. Now we've objectified the people, right? The people, the sock, the thing, the whatever, the such and such, right? Now we've done this in this way so that there's still this belief in separation. There's still this belief in, I know that I'm doing it, and who else gonna do it, right? So there's still this thing of, and so I have to bring that aspect in because, in order for the type of connection that we must have, if there's a real desire to truly, I can't escape that word, to just truly connect. And that's when we have to look at our intention. What really is our intention for this work? What really is our intention around organizing? What really is our intention around, so now we're looking at this aspect of intention, and what is this driven by, right? So is it driven by the fact that, this a piece of arrogance that says I'm the only one with the knowledge and can make it sound right, and then we get up there and it sound like, nah, well, that ain't it, right? Or are we? I'm saying truly connected, and that's a real question for us because every day we move, we have to, we really have to ask ourselves this question: am I connecting? Am I really connecting? And not just, again, person to person, but first, that's a question that we have to ask of ourselves, and especially as artists and as like you said, creative resistors in this way, right? What truly is my intention when I'm writing, right? And then when I'm listening to someone else, that's always one question that I will ask, and that question is, but do I believe them? That's always a question for me. Do I believe you? And it's a lot of people that I just don't believe, and that's a big thing when it comes down to art and revolution, or art and resistance, or art and spirituality, or art and and what that means and what that looks like. Are we still moving from outdated definitions of what connection is? Are we still moving from outdated definitions of what organizing is as well? So all of these things, we're supposed to evolve into a way. So we have this technology, like Mama said. Okay, we use this for our work. I can absolutely say sometimes you got to put a message in a pigeon mouth. That might get to me quicker than the email sometimes. But we still have to use these things and to get up. So even when we're talking about on the mainstream part, certainly we're not turning on the radio now and hearing, we used to be able to hear AFRICA, Angola. So that I can say that was one way I learned all these countries, you understand? Right. So that's a big part. But now it still goes to so now what do we do with this? Do we look at this as this is the only means to get this information and get this music out? Are we really, are we really, I'm saying truly, that's like a real question. Are we really seeking to connect? And are we seeking to connect by only by these means, right? So how do we bring this aspect of this beloved underground? How do, we push these, or how do we allow for this breaking of shell, right, underground, so that all of these things can grow and do what it is that we needed to do in order to sustain us, not just now, but forevermore. Right. So I can say that when it comes down to, our folks, before, these names that we mentioned and music and how it has guided us from, again, before, we're not just talking about hip hop, we're talking about I'll Fly Away. We're talking about, Follow the Drinking Gourd. We're talking about how do we move from that to John Coltrane and Naima? How do we move to A Love Supreme? How do we look at, how do we bring all of these elements in so that we are knowing that we're connecting to the same source that they too connected to in order to create music that we are still singing now? So that's why the real question is, what really is my intention? And do I truly have a desire to follow in those steps? Like we were saying before, so with being shoulder ready, that also means that I have to, look at like, oh, okay, that's your shoulders. Okay, I see the foundation now, right? So, but by doing that, I'm studying. I'm doing everything that I need to do in order to make sure that I'm tapping into that same essence. So that's another piece that we have to make sure that we are looking at. And 9 times out of 10, what we discover is that we ain't tapping in. And we ain't tapping in because we really don't believe. Ultimately, that's really the ultimate part too. We're not believing that we have that kind of power. So this is about now, what really do we believe? What really is my intention? What really do I believe? And do I believe in freedom in this way that we're saying? Because this is a concept that we're bombarded so often with on an everyday, every moment basis with deliberate murder. So now it comes down to, I'm so bombarded by this. I'm flooded with images. I'm flooded with sounds. I'm flooded with murderous actions. I'm flooded with murderers. I'm flooded with it. So now what does that mean for my music? So now is my music only to acknowledge the murderers, or is my music to acknowledge the heart of the people in order for the people to wake up within themselves and rouse up within themselves what it means to take down every element that is meant to kill them, literally, So that's the thing.
You mentioned excellent answer. You mentioned tapping in and and standing on the shoulders. I know that both you and Balogun are priests. I wanted to pose this question to both of you all before we move on. We're going to have some select questions for select individuals, but I wanted to ask you all, in the spirit of Black August, how important is a spiritual grounding or foundation when it comes to our liberation? And we'll start with Balogun and then come back to Sunni, if that's cool.
It's extremely important when we deal with, so you hear people hashtagging, you see people hashtagging Ogun now, right? I watched some father was spanking his son who did wrong. They said, oh, he Oguned him. He's Oguning it. Hashtag Ogun. They don't understand what that is. But then on the other end, you have people that somebody slaps them in the face and they say, man, I gotta go home and pray to Ogun. That this don't happen to me again. What? You are Ogun. And people ask, well, what do you mean? Often when I say that, and some of you all have seen me talk about that, if this knife is on the ground, is it a danger to you? I ask people that, they say, no. Am I? If I wanted to do you harm, am I a danger to you? Yes. If I pick up this knife, because iron is Ogun, if I pick this knife up, am I more of a danger to you? Yes. Because this external Ogun is being operated by this Ogun. So the Odu, which is our body of knowledge, says, the Odu Okana no Sa says, what good is the cutlass except human beings pick it up? Right? We have separated the human, the body, from the spiritual. You can't have one without the other. The spirit is like a cake with sugar, the body and the spirit. you can't have, if you don't have sugar in that cake, it's not a cake, that's just flour. Okay? And if you just have if you don't have the sugar, so that spirit has to be there, but also if you just have sugar, no flour, eggs, or whatever, it's just sugar. It's not a cake still. You can't just be, this is just spirit external to you, and you can't be so physical and think you're going to be successful. So I always tell people, this is spirit. When we talk about Ashe, Sunni had talked about intent. Ashe is guided by intent. So when you see people doing powerful things, like a PE, their music is great. Sunni's poetry is great because the intent is there to give the people something great. And so the Ashe is there. And that's why it's powerful for us. So for us to be free, the intent has to be for us to be free. Some people are absolutely afraid of that. And so they have no Ashe when it comes to talking about and particularly doing anything for their freedom. So we have to remember that Ashe is guided by intent and Ashe is within. And so the power within is guided by your intention. Your intent is not to be free. And if you're not educated, you don't even know what freedom is. You have to be politically educated, right? Then it is extremely important to understand what spirituality is and then how to use it to understand what your Ashe is, because your Ashe is spirit in action, guided by your intent.
Right on. Sunni, you want to add on to that?
That's good. Spirit in action, guided by intent. I love that. Because that really is what this is about. I keep thinking about just this aspect, even just going back to that of intention. And so intention, right? And then this thing of attention and what that means, because I've been dealing with a lot of that lately, when it's okay, we have this in how we look at this for time, right? And what that means as far as intention, kind of guiding this aspect of a future time in this way, but attention guiding this aspect of this present or present moment and what that looks like, right? Because it's quite often that we will not pay attention to things that's happening and going on now. And so our intention now is not off, right? In this way, because we're really not paying attention to what is happening in the present, right? So this is a big thing, because it's quite often that what's happening is that we're so bombarded with so many things that the only thing that we are paying attention to is something that we would like to happen farther down the line, if this makes sense, right? So what's happening is that we're not being present. We're not, so in not being present, it also means that we're not able to put into practice this aspect of this kind of power, right? And so now we're going back to this thing of, so what really do I believe? Do I really believe in this thing that I'm intending? I mean, truly, right? Do I really believe that my attention is worth, or not even is my attention, is the payment, my payment of attention, right? To whatever the thing is that I need to do in this moment to make this and see this full intention manifest, right? Do I really feel worthy of that aspect of freedom, of liberation, of joy, the joy that Mama Ayanna was talking about in the beginning, how to find joy in the discipline, she said, how to find joy in, all of these kind of things. And quite often we're really living in a time. I mean, I will have people to say to me sometimes, sister, do not greet me in peace. Do not greet me in peace. Oh, wait, what the brother said, do not greet me in peace because we are at war. I'm like, but damn, I'm not at war with you. We ain't at war. Like, what's I'm at peace. I'm sorry, But these are things that we, again, so conditioned by so many other factors that are not for us, that That's why it's so important for us every day, on an every day and every moment basis. Why we have to make sure that we're weeding out the things that truly do not belong, that truly do not bring us even the idea of what, I mean, that gives us the ability to even dream about and envision and imagine what real, right, and true freedom can look like. That's the other part, this aspect of imagination. That's why spirituality is so important, because it allows us to have a radical and divine kind of imagination and be able to put things into place. But we have been taught, right, that imagination is something that is for fairy tales and all these other kind of things. But the reality is that if we cannot envision it, if we cannot take at least 2 moments, we will give 9 hours out of a day to work and to work for someone else's mission and someone else's vision, and will not take 5 intentional moments to envision what freedom can look like for ourselves. So this is really challenging us to make sure that we are, we are really sifting through our thoughts, that we're really sifting through our beliefs, so that we can really get to the point where we are able to truly envision and become all connectors, one to the other. I was looking at a brother on a bridge, right? We were going over the bridge, and I was like, man, give thanks for people like this, because I would never be able to manufacture, fix nothing high as this bridge is going over the Mississippi River, right? So I'm like, man, it really takes a special kind of person. But then it hit me, it's like, man, but that's the thing about being that kind of connector metaphysically, right? And what that means and what that looks like. A person who builds bridges is not afraid to reach certain heights. So I was like, okay, man, that really makes sense. So it's for us to make sure that we're using these moments and times to make sure that we're bringing our thoughts higher, that we're bringing our spirituality higher, and that our biology is also moving higher within our spirituality. That's another part, especially for this particular time in general during COVID and coronavirus and everything. This is also when we discover what it is that we believe as well during this particular time, especially this time of pandemic and epidemic and everything else, even though we've had, right, we've been dealing with the epidemic and pandemic of racism and injustice and sexism and every other thing else that has been the underlying cause of America's, what would they say in the beginning? Well, COVID strikes people who, and I know I'm kind of going off on another subject, but COVID kind of strikes people who have these underlying issues. And then we look and we know that the underlying issue in America, right, has always been one of every other ism, right, that we see. But now spirituality will teach us, and spirituality says not to forget these things, but what does it mean for us to envision something new? What does it mean for us to envision something different? What does it mean for us to have the courage, to have the bravery, to have the strength, to have the hope, to be able to say, okay, there is different and I want it. Now, how do I get it? Now, what is my means, right, to be in my power? What means am I taking to, just to put this out? What does that look like? What does that look like for me to be able to, really project this image of freedom and this principle and everything that calls for? So I will always go back to this thing of make sure that we're sifting through and really with a fine-tooth kind of comb, like, okay, this is not something that can stay. And then we discover that, damn, that's the very thing that I love the most, whatever that thing is sometimes. And then that's when we discover if we can live without whatever that thing is, then certainly we are well on our way to being and I'm saying, when I'm saying being, I'm really saying this in the true sense of the word. What does it mean to really be? And what does that being, what does it mean for that aspect of beingness, that isness? What does it mean to really be present and to really be in that moment, at each moment? What does that mean for us as revolutionary thinkers? What does that mean for us as creatives? What does that mean for us as spiritualists? What does that mean for us as real, fighters and resistors? What truly does that mean? So, our spirituality is extremely important because that's the thing that gives us the juice, so it's like, it's one of those things like, our ego can be the car, but spirit needs to be the driver. I'm not one to say, release the ego needs to go. No, I'm not one to say that. But I will say that if the ego is here in the way that it is here, it needs to be here to do my bidding. Right. So that means that I needed to be the car. You can be the car, but spirit got to drive me around.
No doubt. With that in mind, we're going to drive on to a quick break. The spiritual preachers are preaching today. You know what I mean? From a revolutionary side of things, which is necessary, give thanks and revolutionary salute. For those who are listening and in the chat room, please understand that right now what you have today is nothing but pure power. I stand by these brothers and sisters and comrades, and I say that we are safe here today with what it is we're bringing forward. And it is my belief that we're doing justice to the ancestors and elders.
Can I just add very quickly? You mentioned the preachers. I just want to just highlight the fact that these are not preachers asking you to put money in the basket. Nobody's asking you to help fund the private jet. What they are asking for is that you put some commitment in that basket that's getting passed around the collection. The people. The people who have gathered. That's what is being asked by this collection of preachers. So let's all happily give a little bit more of that.
No doubt. And for the record,
and in that sense, it could be we like what is it? We like the sound, we like the money that jingles, but we prefer the kind that folds. And in that context, we would like you to dig deep into them pockets for your commitment to the struggle.
Dr. Jared Ball, no relation to Al Sharpton. Anyway, Wire's not included here in Black Power Media. We won't do it like that.
Boy.
Yeah, salute to all the comrades out there. We need more comrades than fans. You know what I mean? Let me just put that out there because some folks get it twisted and they think that tweets is what's up. I don't care if you retweet me. I don't care if you like what we talk about. All we want to know is how we gonna get free. We'll deal with all the other stuff after that. For now, we want to bring our neighborhood crooner back in. We're gonna take a quick little break, and I ain't even gonna say a break, but we need since we're in the church, the Revolutionary Church of Black August, we're gonna bring on the choir real quick. Our brother Kaba gonna come back and hit us with another ditty, like both. Black Power Media in the building, Black August Resistance.
Long live the dragon, Black Power Resistance. And I'd like to thank Brother Kalonji for teaching me how to sing. And in the spirit of reciprocity, I'm going to teach him geography so he'll know where the Midwest is from the South and all those other things. In the interim, though, right now I'm going to do a song that was really by an artist that inspired the song that I just did originally, the song that I wrote. One of my favorite singers of all time, Donnie Hathaway, and this is a song that he gave us as an anthem. And when I wrote Africans, I was thinking of that as an anthem, as writing an anthem. And this is the song that inspired it. Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. Keep your self-respect, your woman and manly pride. Get yourself in gear. Keep your stride. Never mind your fears. Brighter days will soon be here. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free. Yeah. Keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Sing your greatest song. And you keep going on. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free. Hey, just wait and see. Someday we'll all be free. Black August Resistance.
He killed it every time, man. Shout out to Brother Kaba. Shout out to Donnie Hathaway. The first time I heard Brother Kaba do that, I don't know, it's been a minute. And it blew me away. And I've been inviting him to everything I've been involved with ever since. And he hadn't lost the step, man. I love it. I love it. And I got Donnie right next to Sada right there. That's it. So right on, man. Appreciate that, man. Always appreciate that.
Definitely, man. Kaba, Kaba's our brother. You know what I'm saying? Why you start laughing, man?
Because I know some joke is around the corner, man. I
ain't gonna do it right now. Kaba, boy, we got Mama Ayanna here, so I ain't gonna talk about Kaba.
There we go.
Like I normally would.
There we
let
go.
it slide. Mama Ayanna give me the eyes, so I don't want no problem. But listen, we definitely, man, Kaba is one of my favorite singers. I'm gonna just say that, you know what I'm saying, as a comrade, you know what I mean, someone who always come through. I appreciate the fact that, like Sunni, he's not just an entertainer. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, we don't get that twisted. He brings pure Africa. You know what I'm saying? Africa's in the house, so get petrified.
And if anybody exemplifies the phrase, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, it's him right there.
Man, listen, I want to say this real quick because our sister Sunni, she agreed to come on, but Sunni, she told me earlier today she was officiating 8 weddings, a few funerals, a tap dance competition, and a recital all today. So she got to cut out in a second. So with us on the screen, we're gonna get Sunni to spit a piece for us, another piece, and I'm gonna just tell y'all that I began asking Sunni to do stuff well into the show. You know what I mean? She's like, look, I know I wasn't gonna just be on a panel because you're gonna be begging for something else. So I want to definitely we want to say we appreciate it, and we're gonna ask Sunni to drop another piece for us before she exits, and we continue our piece. We're gonna be rocking for another 30 minutes or so, and Black August Resistance. That's what it's all about.
Give thanks. You crazy, Kalonji.
I'm getting to think I am because y'all keep saying that. You know what I'm saying?
You are.
I'm getting to feel like Balogun.
You are. Give thanks, though. It's just such an honor to, just to be with, truly, to be with y'all and spend this day, spend this life, spend this time. It's a strange kind of time that we're in, but so magical all at the same time. So you that's the other part. So as funny as that was, 8 weddings, funerals, so forth, that really is how it is. But it's been these funerals all this month. Our community has been hit very, very hard. We've had so it's been 6 funerals just this month. And so, that's one part. 2 to COVID, 2 to COVID, the rest to cancer. So there's a lot that we have to deal with within ourselves. And so even that aspect, when we're talking about this aspect of freedom in that way and what that means, right? To see ourselves and feel ourselves as unrestricted beings in the world, and what that means for us mentally, what that means spiritually, what that means, because it's quite often that someone can ask, okay, well, what really does that mean? What really is this aspect of freedom, right? In that way. And it really does go to this unrestricted movement. And even what does that mean now? So now that's what I'm saying, this thing of really sifting through things, right? Really sifting through my thoughts, really sifting through, my belief system to see where have I, where with being under the tutelage of a destroyer for so long and so many years, and the cultural genetic that's been passed down, and the things that I'm trying to release, right? Like really, what does that mean for my movement and for my motion? What does that mean for my thinking? Am I really unrestricted in my thinking? So then that brings us back to this thing of imagination. Now, what am I even able to imagine something new? Am I even able to even think? Is that even a thought? Have I even thought about seeing something new and seeing something different, and not looking at it as just some fantasy world? Not looking at, we've been taught if was a fifth, we all be drunk. But, it's also about how do we take the divinity in the if, to know that we have to be able to envision something new. We have to be able to see something new in order to build the bridge, build the connector to what it is, to what it is, right? To us actually now seeing this new thing. That's where the real work comes in. The real work really is building the bridge to get from here to there. But in order for me to get there, I have to, like we were saying about the builder on the bridge, I can't be afraid of certain heights. And it's quite often we find that ultimately, dang, I've been afraid of heights. So so I want, not only I've been afraid of heights, but I've been so deep in my depth that to even think of going higher hurts. To even think of going higher is scary. To even think of going higher is fearful. To even think of that joy is almost unattainable. So this is to make sure that we're taking the blinders off, that we're taking the change truly off of our own minds and hearts and souls and spirits, so that we're able to move in this world as unfettered thinkers and unfettered seers and unfettered believers and unfettered beings in this world. So in that saying, we want to bring back black. We want to bring black back. We want to bring ancient thoughts to present thinkers so future generations can be healed within one moment. Time stands still or ceases to exist, but then a minute by man's standards is a mere blink in the master's eye. Or who can master time? Who can move mountains? Who can make music that makes motions that move us forward to bring us back? Yeah, we want that black back. We want that good news, that renews, that old time religion. It was good for my ancestors, so it's sure enough good enough for me. That take us back, that back bent spinal spiral, a cosmic swirling, a whirling dervish twirling, a double helix like dance of sacred energy, molecular memory. This is music's beginning, the magic of morning, recalling ancestral tones that make you remember things you never even knew you knowed. Oh no, English ain't my first tongue. Where I come from, forms are born in a nothingness so divine, it encompasses everything here. Spirit speaks from the deep, and women see with 16 eyes here. Everything has an answer. Love, bring back love, bring black love, bring back black love, bring back black love. No matter the question, love, no matter the time, love, no matter the question, love, no matter the time, love, no matter the question, love, no matter the time, love, no matter the question, love, no matter the time. It's love. So I love y'all. I love us.
Man,
Prayerfully we can really move and get to the point where we are unafraid of the height of loving ourselves, where we're able to look in the mirror and look in each other's eyes, which are still our mirrors, and still be able to say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and really mean it, right?
I love you.
Yes.
I love you, I love you.
Ashe. So I'm grateful to be here. I love y'all. Happy Black August, and to bring our August into our September, our October, and November, December, and every other month that comes after and before. So I'm giving thanks for just this connection in time.
No doubt.
Right on. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Yes, yes. Sunni Patterson in the
Thank
building.
you.
Yes,
Right
continue
on.
on.
Right
Yes, yes,
on.
yes. We appreciate you. Yes. So, man, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as they say. You know what I mean? We have a wonderful group of panelists and hosts and all that good stuff. And like I said, we're grateful to be here. For those of you that don't know, because I know that there's some people that's checking out Sunny, and you think that she's just someone that has some cool words or whatever. You can check her work from places like Deaf Poetry. She's been on Arsenio Hall. She has she's on a number of different artists' tracks and whatnot. Folks, I know Chrisette Michelle. I forgot the other rapper's name. My brain is kind of numb right now. TED Talk. Beats by Dre. She did a piece for Beats by Dre and Serena Williams. Her resume is crazy, but yet, international. But yet, like I said, she's always humble and she always comes through. And sort of like our sister Mumu Fresh, the same type of humble attitude. You know what I'm saying? That you wouldn't know that they had such an extensive piece. But anyway, definitely Black August Resistance 42nd commemoration was good. Jared, how you feeling over there, sir?
Well, I'm feeling wonderful, and I'm deeply appreciative of everybody and having come through and contributing and reminding us of not only what this month is supposed to be about, but as Sunny said, extending it beyond. I mean, it isn't that Black August ends and then we put that away and move back into some nonsense. It's
Sure.
If anything, for me, it's an aggressive, overt recentering that is meant to hold me down as the rest of the months try to pull us away, inevitably try to pull us away. So anyway, I deeply appreciate it, and I think we've been trying to do what George Jackson encouraged us to do. That in addition to the secret army and the alternative political party, he encouraged that we develop an alternative press that was meant to promote the idea of revolution. To as Sunny was saying, to make us I think something to get to not be afraid of the heights we have to get to, and that's what I think we're trying to do here, and have been and it's been great. So I really appreciate everybody and their contribution, and all the people in the audience who will see this later as well. We appreciate you.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, let's in the spirit of, like you said, moving beyond Black August. I guess a question we can pose to our comrades is, what are you taking from this Black August, and how do you look to move forward based on the principles and practice of Black August? Mama Ayanna,
This
you
is
want
an
to get
open
started?
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I want to say, as a medicine woman, that people ask me how I can be so spiritual and be so political, right? And I want to be clear, there is no separation, right? There is no separation from our political work and our spiritual work, right? At least not for me. And so what I always take from Black August is the inspiration of the ancestors and what they bring in the ancestral realm, right? And the inspiration to strive to change the world, or to bring change, I should say, bring change to the world in harmony with, in whatever harmony we can get in these times with the planet. We are in amazing times, times that I haven't seen in my lifetime, being the elder at the table. And what we give to one another during these times and what we give to ourselves is going to be extremely important. So when we talk about self-care, right, and that's key in the work that I do, where we encourage self-care. To me, part of that self-care is our political development, right? When I meditate, I definitely meditate to open myself as a vessel to the Creator and my ancestors, but with the clear intention of it guiding the work that I do. The same thing in my stretch and yoga practice and my vegan eating practice and all the things that I bring to the work that I do. It is with the intention of it supporting the work, right, and making me stronger, more powerful, of course, live longer if possible. And so these practices are not meant to just strengthen us in the now, like you said, it's, or Jared said, it's each month, right? Bring these practices, bring the discipline, bring the study, bring the understanding of the revolutionary resistance actions of the past and study them and learn from them. The music, the historical figures and their teachings, all that's extremely important to incorporate it into our work and synthesize it spiritually. When Sunni was talking about how we're using our minds, I think that's part of it, right? And carrying it forward. Be fearless in, to be fearless in these times. To me, fearlessness is not like going without your mask or going without your vaccination. It is literally understanding that you have a place in this world and to value your life and value yourself and care for yourself on the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and political plane, right? That said, what I'm carrying forward with me is the fact that Black August or August, and as in Black August too, tends to be a very challenging month for me. And it is obviously, like Sunny said, she's officiated 6 funerals lately. Right? We're losing people. And again, it's really important for us to value ourselves enough to practice living and thriving, right? And supporting each other in living and thriving. Because there's only one you and what you bring. And if you are dedicated to people, if you have revolutionary thinking, if you are supporting the community, if you are organizing and strategizing and activating and maybe even conspiring, right, to create change, to support the forward movement of our people, you are valuable. And the time that you take to support your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and political health is key to carrying you forward. And that's the fearlessness I'm really encouraging, right? Feel it, like Sunny said, fearlessly love yourself so that you can look yourself in the eye and look others in the eye and open your heart to, how can I put it? Putting your foot in it, right? Just step in it. What comes to my mind is some of the words that Matulu said, that we have to understand our history, of course, but really understand what's behind it. While we have our eye on one thing, we are outspent, and people have these think tanks. Let me put it like this: white supremacists, and they have no problem coming together and being in unity and agreement about the things that they want to see happen, you know, and they strategize and put money and think well into the future. We have to do those things with each other. We really, truly have to put aside our differences, stop the petty divisions that occur. And one of the things when we were talking about the politics, and Sunni was talking about the pedagogy of the oppressed, right? And the desire for the vanguard to be the ones, right? It's very important to understand that level of leadership. When you look at our movements, we have to be scientific and creative and begin to move beyond this power base of leadership, like your organization, your platform, your program has to be the one, right? Let's find what we come together, the things that we agree on as a people, especially those of us that call ourselves in the movement, those of us that call ourselves revolutionary thinkers. That's one of the things about Black August. There were like 3 factions in the Black August Organizing Committee as we were organizing, right? Revolutionary Internationalists, New African Revolutionaries, and Black Nationalists, right? Black Revolutionary Nationalists. We came together around the things that we agreed on, organized together and strategized together, you know. And what I've seen, and we were also easily divided because we did not have agreement that we weren't going to allow ourselves to be divided around our differences. So I'm saying this to you that nobody's going to do this work for our people but us, and no one is going to create what we need for us but us, right? I'm not saying we don't organize with other folks, you know, whether it's Black and Brown unity or African and Asian unity, but for our people, for our children, for the generations to come, for those COVID babies that are in the womb right now, you know, the shelter-in-place babies that are coming forward, we have to create this world, and we have to create a place for them to be safe. We can't do it apart. We can't do it with the level of disunity. And we also can't do it without understanding that these millions of our people that are in these prisons are our people. They are our community. We cannot leave them on the outside of the work that we do. We have genius minds and resources. We really need to put the work of in everything we do of being present for our young people that are in these cages, or our people, period. We have elders that are being released after 40, 50 years. We have young people that are going to do 10, 15, 25 years. How do we just let folks be in these hellholes? And I try to watch my words, but the truth is, right, they're in these dungeons and hellholes and places where they are being tortured and mind manipulated and behavior modified, and our culture being stripped away from them. We have to find ways to reach our people in prison, and we have to create scientific, highly evolved thinking in order to move past where we are in this place now. And that takes you caring for yourself, taking that time to meditate and be still and listen, to move on your spiritual path, to treat your body well, to have levels of discipline, and even sleep. Cut off these devices and let yourself get some rest at night. Get into nature And I would say, you know, anytime you can train in nature, um, that's powerful. And train together. We have to know how to use whatever we can to defend ourselves. These are not times that we can, you know, go gently into YouTube into the night. You know, seriously, we really truly have to get it together. And the younger we start, the better. It's okay to make your children turn off those devices. They need to be drinking more water. You need to be feeding them fresh fruits and vegetables. And if you don't have it around you, you need to start organizing food security, water security. And if you read the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, there's a map in there for us to follow. There's the organizing, strategizing, surviving, and a lot of it in detail. I didn't mean to go on a lecture, y'all, but I think it's very important that we are, as we move into revolutionary thinking, that we also move into revolutionary behavior. We can't have a revolution, can't be a revolutionary without the revolution. And it might not look like we thought it would look, but we can begin to put into place what we need as a people. And when I look at New Africa, I look at, hey, they look up and we are not there for them. And it's happening, you know, and there's repatriation to the continent, and there's repatriation to the Kush district as well. And you all are brilliant. You are just amazingly brilliant, beautiful people that I'm sitting with right now and that are listening. You could be anywhere else, but you're here. What does that mean? That means you have to look at how we are treating one another and how we're working together with one another. They will use every divisionary tactic to keep us down, and we know that already. You know, we have the ability, like Sunni said, these are magical times too. I so agree with her. While we are going through it, we also have the ability to move and transcend in multiple levels of communication. And don't, you know, okay, I'm complete. I'm finished.
Hey,
I'm gonna finish the lecture.
hey, listen, we appreciate the wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that we get so used to being entertained. You know what I mean? I think that we're so used to the slick sound bites and the you know and the rhythmatic flow and all that type stuff that we forget to go back to basic. And one of the beautiful things that many of us have experienced is being able to sit at the feet of our elders. That is most important, especially during these tech savvy times, because of the fact that you lose it's like that human touch, the necessity of human touch. It's like being in the shoe. You need that human touch. That sensory deprivation is one of the things that kills us. And not being able to sit at the feet of our elders, it literally kills us, because of the fact that we begin to think that we are the mothers and fathers. We begin to think that we are the creators when we are in fact creation, and we fail because of the fact that our egos, as Sunny said, you know what I'm saying, they become the car, and the egos begin to drive as well. And instead of us allowing those who came before us and those who are most prepared or best prepared, because sometimes it's not about how old you are, but it's how prepared you are for a certain situation. If you are a chef, I might like to cook, and I might like to eat, but that don't make me the chef. You understand what I'm saying? I might know how to fight, but if I'm not the best fighter, then I'm not the person who needs to be in training. I want to shout out.
But maybe you might be the person that that is good at setting things up to make sure that people are able to fight.
Right
You know,
on.
everybody has a place, and we have to understand that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I definitely agree with that. Shout out to our brother Dr. Jared Ball. He had to dip off. We got about 15 minutes left. I want to pose the same question, but I kind of want to jump to Krystal first because of the fact, Dr. Krystal Strong. I want to jump to her because of the fact that not only I think she the youngest on board today. I think her and I, or her or I, but one thing I heard her talk about in another interview was the importance of academics being involved in a liberation struggle. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
sometimes we get caught up in the theory without the practice. So, Dr. Strong, can you touch on that? Like, how important is it for not just the so-called fighter to fight, but for the academic to say, okay, boom, it's time to put this book down and put these up? How do we work that? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So before I answer this question, I just want to echo the appreciation for Mama Ayanna. It's been just such a joy and a privilege to hear your wisdom, to hear your, decades of experience in this struggle. We need so much more space for our revolutionary elders to share like all of these nuances that some folks might know about, but many of us who are coming up in the struggle, who are sort of younger in the movement, we really need to know about the beefs that you were talking about and how you overcame them, because many of us are struggling with these kind of movement beefs that are really destroying our ability to sustain our struggle. So I just want to appreciate you and appreciate just you being an example of like being a revolution, a lifelong revolutionary. I think we see a lot of people burn out of the movement, and I get so encouraged when I see elders like you, like Mama Pam Africa here in Philly, still in the fight, right? Like y'all are for real goals for so many of us. So I just wanted to thank you, to join in thanking you. And I just also want to just say that I typically don't like put at the forefront being a PhD or, being an academic. I'm an organizer first. I started out as an organizer and saw scholarships, saw, this kind of academic work as one way to contribute to our movement, right? And to our understanding, our strategization, our ability to connect across the diaspora. And so I think when, from that perspective, right, there's no separation there, right? And I think, when I've talked in the past about scholars and folks who write about social justice, abolition, whatever kind of buzzwords the university is co-opting from our movements, it's really from a position of accountability, right? Like, how many people are making careers off of anti-racism, right? And the academic language of abolition without any actual connection to movement, right? These are folks that need to be either called out or called in, right? Because, we have always had our revolutionary intellectuals, whether they be scholars or folks like George Jackson, who were in fact scholars, right? And so I think, we have always seen our liberation as something that requires study, something that requires like deep theorization. And so, what I'm really getting at with that is just really recognizing that, we have to call BS on folks who are just kind of getting close enough to the movement to find that next book title, but don't have any real place that they are finding for themselves in our struggle. We all have a place in the struggle, right? And so I just think that we need to uplift examples of people who are scholars and revolutionaries, if that's the route you want to go, or healers and revolutionaries, or spiritualists and revolutionaries. Like, the point is, we all have a role in this revolutionary struggle wherever you are at. And I was also, thinking about what Mama Ayanna was responding to as well around, what this Black August has taught me. And I actually started kind of jotting a few things down, because I feel like Black August has always felt like the Revolutionary New Year to me, right? Like, it's, like, we're gearing up for like a new, like, we're recalibrating and getting ready for, the next phase, right? The next time frame. And I think, I appreciate so much the uplifting of this language of self-care, right? Because I think something that we don't talk enough about is how much folks who are in our revolutionary struggles, who are on the front lines, how many of us are struggling, who are struggling. And I think, when I was younger, I really thought Black August was about rigidness and discipline, or a form of discipline that was so rigid, you had to deny yourself, X and Y and Z. And I'm not saying that that's not a valuable kind of lesson, right? Like, I do think there is something valuable about giving up things and what that teaches you. But at the same time, I think that we need more care for ourselves and each other. We need more love for ourselves and each other. Like, that is actually revolutionary. So many of us are walking around on these front lines and are going home to a mess. Our minds are a mess. Our bodies are a mess, because, we are faced with so many different things. And I just, I appreciate the way that we are seeing in our current kind of iteration of the struggle a lot more intention and conversation about how we actually care for ourselves, right? So I appreciated and have been thinking about that myself, because, I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not drinking enough water. I am not exercising enough. And that, there's absolutely nothing revolutionary about that. And I think we need to really take into account how well we are actually caring for ourselves if we are going to be able to be available for the struggle. I'm also really thinking about just the dire situation with so many of our political prisoners. We have had a lot of wins lately. In the past, between 2018 and 2020, the Move 9 were, the surviving members of the Move 9 were released. We've seen so many of our political prisoners come home after 30, 40, 50 years. However, if we are not careful, some of our beloved elders run the risk of dying behind bars, and we cannot let Mumia die. We cannot let Mutulu die. We cannot let Maroon die behind bars. And so I'm really thinking about how we escalate the struggle to bring them home. And there's so many people who are doing that work, the campaign to bring Mumia home, Free Maroon Now. We need to support that work, right? Because we need our elder revolutionaries home. I'm also thinking about how prepared or not we are for what's coming ahead. I really appreciated Baba Balogun, who was talking about survival strategies, right? And I really wish we had trainings in every community about survival strategies, particularly when we look at what's happening with COVID, when there was certain kind of scarcity. Most of us are not prepared should things go off the grid, right? And I know that there are folks who are like strategists who do that kind of work. And I really would love to see more of us like working and being prepared for the inevitability of us needing to be war ready, right? And that extends to our organizing work too. Something I've been talking about recently too is just how ill-equipped we are for the kinds of state surveillance that are capturing new political prisoners, like my comrade Ann Smith here in Philly, right? Like, signal is not enough. Like, what kind of protocols are we developing across our movements to really make sure that organizers are safe? Right? Like, this is a revolutionary imperative. We are like, are we collectively in war ready position? I don't think we are. And so for people who excel at that, I really would love to learn about who those folks are and how we can spread those out across our struggles, because we super need that. And I know there are folks, but my larger point is that if you look across our movement ecosystem, we're not all at that level. And then I guess what I'm also sort of just reminded of in listening to Mama Ayanna is how we can create more space for our elders, for us to sit at our elders' feet, for us to hear them, to learn from them, to document their experiences, to preserve the history that is in the wisdom that is within their experiences. We have just incredible, like, lifelong revolutionaries. And I really get worried when, I don't know that we are preserving their wisdom in the ways that we really need to be thinking about, so that we can benefit and learn from the past, from the folks who were there at the start of Black August, right? Like, we really need to think, I think, collectively more about how we are creating space for our elders, and how we are documenting and preserving the history that our elder revolutionaries like Mama Ayanna have.
Right on. That was man, that is such beautiful words from everyone tonight. I want to thank you all, on behalf of the fighters, and those who came before us and those who are going to come after us. We're grateful to it's an honor to be on the planet at the same time as you all. We talk about that magic. You know what I mean? We're here at the right time. We're here when we're supposed to be. So we respect and honor you all. I want to ask my comrade and brother Balogun to leave us with some marching orders, because of the fact that one thing that we do, we're part of a larger collective. It's called the Siafu Movement. The Siafu Movement consists of the FTP Movement, African Martial Arts Institute, Urban Survival Preparedness Institute, Siafu Youth Corps, Mama's Army, Freedom Home Academy, National Coalition to Combat Police Terrorism, and a few others. So, one of the things that we're working on right now is just what you said, Dr. Strong, as far as making sure that our cadres are tip top wherever we are. When we came up with the whole Urban Survival Preparedness Institute piece, we looked at organizations and we felt that that it was necessary for, if we were going to call ourselves freedom fighters or community workers, we had to be able to heal ourselves, and we had to be able to defend and protect, so on and so forth. It can't be a situation like Katrina and we're in the same coliseums and in the same shelters and the same jails with everybody else, because they're going to be looking at us like, you was talking about the revolution, where it's at. You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we're prepared to, protect ourselves, our elders, etc. So I'm going to ask Brother Baba Balogun to leave us with some ideas and some strategies beyond Black August. And I'm going to suggest strongly that this panel, along with some others, that perhaps once a month we reconvene and talk about new strategies and tactics that we can implement collectively, because political education is a must. I know there's a lot of brilliant young folks out here, but at the same time, in the mortal words of Nina Simone, we know you slick, but you can use a little bit more greasing. You understand what I'm saying? So let us all continue to learn. But anyway, kick it, Balogun.
All right. Couple of simple things. Number one, make sure you have your cachet up at home, meaning your supplies. Some simple things is 2 gallons of water, because it's hot. When it's cooler, it could be 1 gallon. But 2 gallons of water per person in your home per day, and try to have 3 months at least supplies. Okay, that's 2 gallons of water per person per day. Okay, food you can do a little less. All right, get you some foods that are canned foods. You can get beans, things that are substantial. Canned fruit, if you can find it, and if you can actually, if you know how to can, that's good to be able to do that yourself. But you can buy cans from the store and get you enough food. Once again, 1 can a day, minimum, per person, for 30 days or 3 months. All right, I would say that 2 cans a day, and if you got younger people, they definitely need 2 cans a day. All right, if it's a mother who is a woman who's pregnant or a mother who's nursing, minimum 2 cans a day. I would say probably 3. That's per day for 3 months. 1 month, that's all you can afford, but really you want to have for 3 months, and you want to be able to rotate this stuff out, eat it as it gets older, and then replace it. So you need that as a minimum to survive, and you need something for self-protection, some tool. I can teach you how to, if you reach out to me, how to deal with some improvised tools. But when I say tools, I'm talking, people say weapons. You're the weapon. So if you can get some tools for the protection of yourself and your family, from firearms to a knife to a marker. I carry around a marker on a daily basis. It's made from polymer, very hard plastic, and I can use that to protect myself. I can take that on planes. I can do whatever. You can get those easily, or you can get one of those metal Sharpies and train with that. And all you're doing is just using that like you would hammer a nail in the wood. We're not going to get advanced. We don't have the time for that right now, right? And then I will say, work out. You need to be in shape to fight. You need to be in shape to run if you have to. So work out. Try to walk at least 2 miles a day if you can. Okay. If you're not physically able, do what you are able to do. All right. And then finally, get to know your neighbors. I know some people on here right now can't tell me the name of 3 neighbors on your block. Then you're in a very dangerous situation. Because if you don't know your neighbors and things fall down, you have a situation like Katrina, and you don't know your neighbors, you don't know what they're capable of. And when I say capable, that means surviving themselves. You may have to help take care of people, and you may not be able to, but you don't know what they're capable of as far as if they're desperate, they're hungry, they're thirsty, their baby is starving, what they may do to you. So get to know your neighbors, at least what their character is, okay? Because you don't want to find out what their character is when everything falls down and you're in trouble. Also, for me, most of my neighbors are Black and they're concerned for me. So I want to reach out to them, form survival plans with them. So then if things go bad, we can actually work together and fortify our neighborhood against people who would raid our neighborhood, things of that nature. Okay, so do those things. Have your cachet, work out to the best of your ability, and try to reach out at least to the neighbors on either side of you. Okay? Stay Black, be safe, let's be strong, Black August resistance.
Long live the dragon. Listen, good people.
Long live the dragon.
Yes. We are unfortunately out of time. There's another show coming up in a second. and that is Sundays with the Ear Doctor. I want to invite you all to our channel. If it's your first time coming on, make sure you subscribe to Black Power Media. I would like to say that it's an important place for our liberation right now as far as information. We have Mama Ayanna and Dr. Krystal Strong on. We invite you all to start a show on this channel, man, because we think y'all dope and we can use you to help liberate our people. Balogun has a show on Saturdays at 1 p.m., which is called Warrior Class. And in that particular class, you learn everything from African martial arts to urban survival preparedness and how to cope, because of the fact that, like you all mentioned, when we talk about survival and healing, it's very important for us to make sure that our minds, our spirits, our bodies are correct. And in order, we like to invite you all to check out our other shows, and also Tuesday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. We have the Remix Morning Show. Again, we thank you all for your support. We mentioned earlier that we wanted to support Baba Shaka. I will leave his GoFundMe in the body of this particular show, this particular episode, the special. So immediately afterwards, you'll be able to find the GoFundMe for this, and you can replay it if you are, if you just tuned in or whatever. Make sure you share this. And again, thank you for joining us on this Sunday. Black August Resistance.
Long live the dragon, and shout out to the brothers and sisters behind the walls in those jails and prisons and concentration camps.
That's right. Free them all. Free all political prisoners and social prisoners. We out of here. Black August Resistance. Salute. Siafu to the People's Army.